Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Braggy and Curly.
My favorite bands from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly.
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to episode 96 of the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast. Now, first up, we need to wish Mr. and Mrs. Rossi a very happy wedding anniversary. As you may notice, he's not with us tonight. We've given him the night off, so happy anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. Rossi.
Happy anniversary, Rossi. Got you on our minds. Well,
Yeah,
I think
so we
Mrs. Rossi, let's give her a special one for, being married to Rossi.
Absolutely, and I've got no doubt that he would probably agree with that 3,000%. So hope you're having a great night, and we'll see you again next week, Rossi. So hey, look, great episode last week with Ben Penner, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's done a fair bit of media since then, and he's coming up all over the places. And one of the things I took from it, I think, and we talked about it, is that he's in a good spot because right down that coastline, playing that music, I reckon he's got a chance. He's a young, good-looking rooster. I reckon he's got a good chance of it.
He's got such a good story, and used to be a professional musician. Now, he's a teacher, and now he's put out some great music, and he's getting some accolades, and great story. So. Yeah. And during the week, our friends from Fuel to Fire, Balls to the Wall,
I love those boys.
And they've got a new EP coming out as well.
All right.
So it must be the season. And of course, Sean from the Ritzy Kids just keeps popping out new music every 2 weeks, I think. So
we'll have to get him back on. Yeah, he's killing it. Shawnee boy.
Which
Shawnee
is
Bear.
Fantastic. Now, a couple of bits of news. Leonard Skinner, is that the way I say it?
That's the way you say it.
Gary Rossington.
I think the name came from their school teacher, I think.
Oh, truly?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me.
So, most famous for Sweet Home Alabama, of course. So, I think everyone in the world knows
Sweet Home Alabama, Free Bird. Free Bird was their like Stairway to Heaven, if you want. Great and, long tune.
Gary Rossington, the last surviving original member, died during the week at age 71.
Yeah. Those boys lived it hard, though, eh? They're from down south of America, hard drinking, whiskey drinking,
Yeah.
So, and we also lost someone else, Rossi. Rossi.
Yeah.
Curly.
Yeah, Curly. Rossi's having fun.
If I can butt in.
We're working hard.
And it's a guy most people mightn't know this guy, but I'll guarantee you that you've heard him. He was a bass player. His name was Michael Rhodes, and he mainly played on country stuff, but he played on so many other things. This is the people listen to this. This is the people he's recorded with, right?
Yeah.
Neil McCoy, Shelley Wright, Pat McLaughlin, Doug Stone, Winona Judd, Steve Winwood, Larry Carlton, the Dixie Chicks, Reba McEntire, Tanya Tucker, Hank Williams Jr., Rosanna Cash, Vince Gill, Dolly Parton, Randy Travis, Faith Hill, Toby Keith. It goes on and on. And most recently, Joe Bonamassa. So,
wow.
So we lost, I think we lost him a little bit early as well, too. A great bass player. One of my wife's favorite bass players.
So that's two legends in the music world. And an interesting segue, because during last weekend, I finally nailed down the country music correspondent. Yeah.
He's a hard man to find, eh?
Oh, he's a hard man to get on camera, I found. So I nailed him down. I took over a couple of beers. I went over to his place. I brought my laptop. I tapped into their Wi-Fi. And we had our conversation around the golden guitars. So
I'm looking forward to that. It's probably hard to find because he's always out in the country, Curly.
Yeah, he's always out camping in his lifestyle camper. You'll see his when you see the video, you'll see the little swag that he wears. He's got a lifestyle camper shirt, so very loyal to that particular brand. An interesting story which about that brand. They're all just old schoolmates, so incredible story, to be honest. And yeah, so we finally nailed him down. So it's in two parts, Braggy. So
Okay.
I'll introduce it, and then what I'll get you to do is provide some of your expert analysis, because we do talk about rail motor during the conversation.
Yes,
and
I've
really got to put. I've got to give it to Stu, because I give him some shit about his love for country music, and
yes,
he hasn't kicked me out of his friendship circle yet. So there must be something here. And so what I'll do is, during the week, you put your head together with a couple of our very talented people that we know. And Stu's got his own little walk-in music now.
He's got his own walk-in music. But Curly, are we going to this now, or have I got to do something first? Have I got to do the...
Actually...
Because the highlight of last week...
I'm forgetting.
The highlight of last week was when Rossi gave it to me. It was so good.
So what have you got for us, Mr. Bragg?
Well, I got in trouble last week. I had to do detention because I didn't do the Who Am I, because I forgot to do the Who Am I. And Rossi suggested maybe I should write it down with all my thousands of notes on my phone. So I'm going to do a Who Am I. All right?
Okay.
So what do?
Who am I?
Yeah.
You're going to give us a couple of hints.
I'm going to read a little bit, and then I'm going to stop, and then we're going to continue on.
And what we want the listeners and the viewers to do is try and work out who it is, and if you get it right, Braggy will, hopefully, if I remember, we'll share who it is before we finish the podcast. And if you get it right, give yourself a pat on the back. And if you get it wrong, well, try again next week. So who am I? Let's go.
I was born on the 21st of April, 1947, in Muskegon, Michigan. My mother was a housewife. My father was an English teacher and a baseball coach. My family lived in a trailer park in Ypsilanti, Michigan, where I was a conventional teenager, hanging out with the popular kids who wore chinos, cashmere sweaters, penny loafers. I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, and I didn't get high. Ooh. I began playing drums in 5th grade, first starting with rubber pads glued to plywood, before my parents bought me a drum set. Once I hit junior high, I began going to school with the son of the president of the Ford Motor Company and other kids of wealth and distinction. But I had a wealth that beat them all. I'm going to go a little bit further, Curly, till we get that. I had a wealth that beat them all. I had the tremendous investment my parents made in me. I got a lot of care. They helped me explore anything I was interested in. And this culminated in their evacuation from the master bedroom in the trailer, because it was the only room big enough for my drum kit. They gave me their bedroom.
Ooh.
Not much of a start, but...
So 47, so that's a little bit older than us by about 20 years. Yeah, just. Yeah, okay. I have, and obviously still a drummer, so okay.
Well, maybe.
So maybe
not that obviously.
All righty, so let's listen to Stu's intro, and then we'll get into a little bit about the golden guitars.
Time for the Country Roundup with Big Stu.
Hey there, everyone. It's Tony. It's Curly, and it's the Big Stu, our country music correspondent. We're sitting here on a Friday afternoon, evening. It's the first Friday night of the NRL season for those league fans out there. But more importantly, what we're doing tonight, we've been promising this for a while, that Big Stu is going to talk to us about the golden guitars that happened I mean, we're in March. They did happen in January,
Well,
so
it
we are.
it was the end of January, but
We are a bit delayed in this, but I'm here with Stu, the CMC as we call him, the country music correspondent. Braggy's working on his intro piece as we speak, hopefully. But Stewie, how are you?
very good,
Mate,
very, very good.
Been a while since you've been on the potty.
It is, yes, very much so. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've been saying on the podcast is that Stewie's been gloating a bit, all these people that he's passed on to us or talked about on the podcast all ended up as big winners at the Golden Guitar. Is that right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, did well. Run strong, done good.
Yeah, so a lot of maybe our listeners won't know what the Golden Gate Time. That's an ice cream, isn't it?
It is.
It's also a district in Tokyo, I found out. But tell us a little bit about the Golden Guitar. What's the story about it? Because everyone, I think, has heard about Tamworth.
Yep.
And I'd love to go spend a week there one time during the festival.
Yep.
But what is the Golden Guitar?
Okay, so the Golden Guitar is obviously a statue that sits in a place called Tamworth here in Australia. So and every year in January, it runs for 10 days, runs from a Friday through to the second Sunday, so 10 days. In most cases, runs across Australia Day, and it's a recognition of Australian country music.
Yeah.
So and the big yeehaw or the Saturday night is when they hand out the Golden Guitar Awards.
Okay.
And they have 17 awards.
Yeah.
And that's where it's all about. So that's how it comes about.
It's one of those things that even someone like me who's not really into country. Mind you come over to Stewie's place and you have to be in the country because it's on the big screen over there. I had to bribe him to turn the music down just so he could record this. But Tamworth has always been something that has interested me just because of the busker concept. They have buskers around the place. They have so many venues playing music and. I would love to go spend a week there during that particular festival.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I suppose what they have, and I mean, Tamworth to us is the American Nashville. It's the home of country music in Australia. This year they had 700 artists.
Wow.
Playing over 100 venues. Of that, 2,800, they had 2,800 scheduled events.
Yep.
And of that, 70% of those events were free entry. And the remainder of those are ticketed events, which are obviously the top end.
So, Braggy, I'm just thinking maybe you repurpose Railmotor in it and do a couple of little country music sets and become one of those 700 bands playing around the place.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
That sounds awesome. But what some of the big names busk there, don't they?
They do. Yep. Very much so. There's a lot of busking, a hell of a lot of busking is a big part of it. So
I always remember the Johnnies. Now, over at my place one time I played Stewie in the Johnnies, and I can tell you he's not a fan, but the Johnnies in one of their film clips for Buzzsaw Baby filmed it in Tamworth, and there's a hotel there with a big guitar, mosaic tiles on the bottom and whatnot. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that wherever we can get a link between all different genres of music, I think that's fantastic. So,
how good is it? I have to put a little thanks out. It seems like we talk about this guy every week, but that's because he does so much. Is Robbie Stanier there at Stanier Studios up in the Ville? If you live up that way, or if you want to travel up to that place and stay on the island maybe and come over the mainland and record with Robbie, do it. There's my little ad for Robbie.
So, Braggy, I've stopped the video now. So Stewie's given us a bit of an understanding about the history and I suppose the logistics around Golden Guitar in Tamworth. Is that on your bucket list to get to or to do?
I'd love to go there. I really like the way you guys talked about I didn't realise he said 75% of the shows were free to get in.
Yeah.
How freaking cool is that? Like that.
700 artists there or something was another
700 artists, 75% of the shows are free. And Yes, that's just all right. I'd love to go there. And you talked about the buskers, and that's another cool thing, isn't it? I love a busker. Get the guitar, get the case out. So,
could you imagine the buzz in the place? And you don't have to love country music. You would be caught up in it. You'd have to be.
Yeah, of course you would. But mate, country music, I know sometimes you may or may not have a little dig at it sometimes. Although I know you're a Dwight Yoakam fan, but country music covers so much ground, man. Like, everyone likes the Eagles. They're a country band. No one, do you know what I mean? So it goes right from like you talk about the bush sort of stuff like Slim, but it goes all the way the other way to the stuff that's almost rock and roll. I mean, so and then pop like freaking Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so, but it certainly has a whole lot of genres and categories, and I think in our second part of the video, I could have almost fallen asleep. There's that many categories that Stewie went through with the Golden Guitar Awards, but we're just about to see it. Yeah. But interestingly, even country, like I saw a clip during the week of Ursula and Mick playing at Platform 5 here in Brisbane the other Sunday, and good crowd, and Mick's he's the consummate comedian when he starts talking on stage at times. And it was Dave Graney that actually labelled them as a little bit of synth country or country synth.
Yes, that's right.
And so he had a bit of a chat about that in front of the synth country bar, the synth country goth ball or something. What their song that they've got out. I always muddle up the words, but it was such a classic. And as I said, Mick's just got this very dry delivery, and it's just so humorous. He has a lot of time on stage. So let's listen to Stewie now. I'll play the intro.
Have I got to do my second part, Curly? You forgot again.
Oh, yes, you do. See, I'm forgetting. See, yeah.
Far out.
So this is part 2 of Who Am I?
Lucky I'm with it.
Absolutely. So born in 47, and he kicked his parents.
His parents let him. They moved out of the bedroom in the trailer
to fit the drum kit. So here's part 2 of Who Am I?
I began my musical journey as a drummer in various high school bands, including the Iguanas and the Prime Movers, with brothers Dan and Michael Irwin, who gave me my famous nickname. Eventually, I dropped out of university and moved to Chicago, where I switched from drums to lead vocals. Mm-hmm. Inspired by Chicago blues, as well as bands like MC5, the Sonics, and the Doors, I formed a band and began my career as a frontman.
Yeah.
The seeds of my stage persona were sown when I saw the Doors perform in '67 at the University of Michigan and was amazed at the stage antics and antagonism displayed by singer Jim Morrison. Other influences on my style were Mick Jagger and James Brown.
Ooh.
What are you thinking?
So
I've thrown you, haven't I, now, from the drums to the vocals?
Well, yeah, and you have, and I'm thinking about frontmen, and I'm thinking about that enigmatic. For some reason, Michael Hutchins is coming into my head, but then the person was born in Michigan, so yeah,
you'll have to wait for part 3.
Absolutely. So let's hope the listeners and the viewers are onto that one, and let's listen to part 2 of the Country Roundup with Big Stu.
Time for the Country Roundup with Big Stu.
So, Stewie, some of your favourite artists had some big wins.
Yeah, they did. I suppose last time we chatted, we looked at a bit of country music. We spoke about James Jones and
James Johnson.
James Johnson.
I'll correct the country music correspondent.
That's all right. He'll have one mistake and that was it. But James Johnson ended up with an award, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But yeah, it's a great time and it's a great chance for up and coming country artists to go down there and whether they busk, whether they get a chance on stage, they go and ply their wares, and it's a chance to be seen.
Yeah. James Johnson was all over TikTok there for a period of about a month or so with the song that I think you shared with us on one of the episodes. So he's certainly gone ahead in leaps and bounds. Yeah. So where do you want to start talking about some of these award winners?
Okay, well, I suppose we can start and work our way through. As I said, there's 17 awards, so whether we just want to work our way through and let's look at what the awards were and who won them and I suppose how they come about. So the main thing is each of these awards ends up with 5 nominees. Okay. And from those 5 nominees, obviously one person takes home the golden guitar. So, and as I mentioned, the golden guitar, there is a statue in Tamworth with a golden guitar, but what the winners take away is a small replica, which is a little 1.5 kilo, 25 centimetre replica of what's sitting in that big town. So that's... and with that comes a lot of pressure, I gather. It's a nice little award. Yeah. A lot of pressure they carry for 12 months.
How many awards did Slim Dusty?
Slim Dusty. So this is the 51st award. So it started in 1973. Yeah. And there's been 500 great golden guitars handed out, and Slim Dusty's won 37. So he leads by a country mile. Yeah.
Wow. And Australia's got a great history of country music artists, but the modern country music is vastly different to Slim singing Lights Coming Over the Hill.
Yeah. Funny you mentioned that. The golden guitar started in 1973. Yeah. And the very first award for that was won by Joy McKean. Okay. She wrote that. Yeah. Slim Dusty's wife, but became very popular for Slim, who played it and won the award. So that was the very first award in the golden guitars.
I've got great memories of my dad. So with Lights Coming Over the Hill are blinding me. And my dad passed in 87, so it's always good when I can bring those memories back. So, but to me, I think country music nowadays, there's almost a formula behind it. Would you say the same thing?
Yeah, I think there is. It's very much so. There's certainly a formula. But in saying that, the award winners are very vast.
Very diverse.
Very diverse, very eclectic. They were all over the place. So, and it's great to see that it's not in one little pocket. It's all over the place.
So how many did Kernaghan win?
Kernaghan didn't win any this year. But,
wow. Okay. So there's one name that I know in country music. And Kernaghan, you're a bit of a loser. So...
No, far from a loser. But, on the Australian country music landscape, Lee Kernaghan can stand very, very proud. He does a great job.
And Keith Urban, he'd be another name I'd know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, again, not part of the country music, but certainly globally. Yeah, a very well-known country music artist.
Yeah, and does a lot of great work.
He does
a lot of great work.
Great work, and very proud Australian.
Yeah. All right, Stewie, let's get into this. The Golden Guitars for 2023. I know people have been tuning into this podcast, waiting for this moment. So here we are. Let's go through them.
So, guys, for those guys that love our country music and maybe didn't get a chance to go to Tamworth or didn't see anything about Tamworth, let's work our way through the awards. Yep. So we look at the very first one, which is the Toyota Album of the Year.
The Toyota Album of the Year.
Okay, so a good mate of ours and someone that probably, for Tony and I, we spent a lot of time at Yamba, and we found this guy at Yamba. He played a song, which in the film clip was all about Yamba, but a gentleman by the name of Casey Barnes won the Album of the Year with an album called Light It Up.
Yeah, I don't mind a bit of Casey. No. He did a lot of good work on Facebook during the pandemic.
Yes, he did. He took up a lot of my Wednesday nights. Yeah. Listening to him on that was absolutely amazing. Yeah. Very, very good.
Yeah, very much so. So well done. That was Album of the Year, Casey Barnes. Now, much better to be recognised on the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast than at the Golden Guitars. Just quietly.
Exactly right.
Well done, Casey.
This has a far more reaching audience, and we'll get them all in here. Yeah. They'll come and see us because of this bit. Okay, so as we mentioned, it's very eclectic. So let's look at the Alternative Country Album of the Year.
Yeah, there has to be always an alternative, independent style of music
within
a genre.
and it was an album called Looks Like Heaven, and it was from Kim Cheshire.
Oh, why is that name familiar to me?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've probably not heard a great deal of Kim Cheshire.
So you're not a huge fan of Kim at the moment?
I'm not. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I don't know much about.
Okay.
So that's. Don't know. You can't comment until you listen to what they do.
Yeah. Well done.
Very good. Well done, Kim.
A lot of alternative artists, it's all about the struggle. So keep struggling, Kim, and we'll get there.
Keep playing that music. The next one was called the Contemporary Country Album of the Year.
Contemporary. So describe contemporary country.
Yeah, I don't know. I think contemporary is probably that more the country. It's
like Glenn Campbell.
Yeah, it is. I think it's more that country sort of music. So yes. The album was called Wiser, and it's by a lady called Lynn Botel.
Okay, Lynn Botel.
Yes.
So contemporary
country album of the year.
How many different genres are there in country? Because I thought there was just the two. The Blues Brothers said there was just the two.
Yeah, country and western. We're just looking at country in this one. Okay, so we're all about country. Forget the other one. So on the other side of that contemporary album, country music album, we look at the traditional country album of the year.
Which is different from contemporary.
Correct. This is traditional. Okay, so the album was called In the Moment.
Okay.
And Ashley Dallas, the young lady that won that award. So good on her. Well done.
I think it's fantastic. I'm hearing names for the first time.
Yeah,
I think that's
a lot more names you won't have heard yet.
That's really, to me, it's an indication of a vibrant scene. You've got people bubbling up.
It certainly is. And for you guys out there, look up some of these names. Find out what these guys do. They're actually amazing people. So next one, we go to the Male Artist of the Year. It was Andrew Swift.
Now, you didn't allow me to do the Dave Brainey King of Pop. But, so this is King of Country Pop. Country music.
This is exactly right. This is the Moomba or the whatever you want to put it into.
Braggy will get a kick out of this because when we talked to Dave Brainey, he said when he won Best Male Artist of Arias in 1995, he said, and I went up on stage and I said King of Pop because he thought that was a little less ostentatious. And, how cool is that? So, King of Country Music.
Yeah, exactly right.
And so, who was that again?
Well, this is the Male Artist of the Year. It was Andrew Swift.
Yeah.
And obviously, the other side of that, we also have the Female Artist of the Year. This is probably a very well-known name in Australian country music, a lady by the name of Amber Lawrence.
Okay.
So Amber's, certainly well-known.
Been around
for a while and has put out some very good products.
Okay, so the King and Queen.
Yeah, there you go. So the next one we have the Country Music Capital News Group or Duo of the Year.
Oh my God, the titles get long.
They do, very much so. So these people, you would know the young lady's name, and hopefully a lot of people would know her husband or partner's name. And this is one by Brooke McClymont and Adam Eckersley.
I know that name.
So Brooke is from the McClymonts.
Yeah.
So yes, these guys were very successful and got the group or duo of the year. So well done to those guys.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, the next one. So obviously within this is in all music there's a lot of collaboration.
Yeah.
So in this we have the vocal collaboration of the year. And this is we spoke before about James Johnson. So
vocal
collaboration of the year.
So is that? So just help me understand that a little bit. So that's two singers coming together and they're judged on their vocals.
Correct, and producing a song. How they go together. So
it could be Braggy and Waxy.
It could be
the vocal collaboration at Blues Fest at Agnes Water.
Could be.
Okay.
Could be Mickey and Minnie. It could be a million things. So this song, and it's getting a lot of airplay at the moment. This song. So the song is called Same Song, and it's by James Johnson and Kaylee Bell. So Kaylee is a very well-known Kiwi artist who's doing a really good job in Australia, and probably got a really good kick along when she was on Australia. I think it was The Voice.
Okay.
And played a song called Keith.
Okay.
So no surprise she played it for Keith Urban.
I remember that one.
Yeah, so Kaylee Bell, that's the lady. So very, very good. So we move to the next one, which next one was...
Can I just make a comment on the Little Creatures Hazy IPA?
Yep.
That's not bad.
So, I haven't got to it yet. Curly's on it already. He's on the second. I'm still going with the first because
We really need to get a sponsorship either from Benspoke Brewery in Canberra, or the little green tins out of Adelaide that we love so much. But anyway.
Oh, but there's a great brewery down just New England, isn't there?
Deepwater Brewery.
Deepwater, there you go. So Deepwater,
yeah.
If you're listening, guys, there's an opportunity. Jump on board.
We would love to have a sponsor.
Yes.
We'd love to cover some costs. That'd be nice.
Exactly right. No, I spent last weekend down in a little country town called Tenterfield, and I drank some of your beer, guys, so it was very, very nice. So
I asked him to say hello to the Saddler for me, and it was closed.
It was closed. Run by volunteers, but no one was there, unfortunately. So, okay, so next one we're going to look at the Bush Ballad of the Year. So obviously our ballads are a big thing in country music. So the Bush Ballad of the Year was called Out of Killarney by a gentleman by the name of Dean Perrott.
Okay.
So do yourself a favour, for want of a better word. Have a listen.
So is that really like bush ballads? Yeah, okay.
It's a bit of a ballad, that poetry type.
Yeah.
The bush ballad type thing. So
Rossi says I've got too much of an Irish folk stuff in my blood with some of my musical taste. So
there you go.
Maybe I might like that.
We'll have a listen to those ones. So we'll move to the next one. So the next one is Heritage Song of the Year. So what that means, I don't know. Honestly, I do not know.
Heritage Song of the Year.
Yeah, so it's called the Heritage Song of the Year.
So is that like the heritage zone when you're wanting to develop your house and you're not allowed to touch it?
Maybe. I think heritage is about certain parts of the country, I think. So it was won by, and again, another country name that's probably well known, a gentleman by the name of Luke O'Shea.
Okay.
And the name of the song was Southeast Queensland, it was called.
Oh.
So obviously he sung about a region.
Yeah.
Which obviously gives that more the heritage. So maybe more about rainforest and that sort of stuff. So
beautiful.
That's what it's all about. So obviously from that we move to instrumental of the year. So music wouldn't be music without an instrumental part of what we do.
Yeah.
So here we go with a little band that's called the French Family Band, and a song that's called Soda Cap Boogie. So probably doesn't sound country, but have a listen. It's country.
Soda
Cap Boogie.
That might be our closing song for this episode, folks. So stay on, hold on, and we're going to play Soda Cap Boogie. And it's an instrumental.
It's an instrumental of the year. It won instrumental of the year, a golden guitar. So, you don't get golden guitars. They're not handed out to anyone. You've got to work hard. So these guys have obviously done a really good job.
Mind you, there seem to be a lot of categories.
There's 17 categories.
17.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a
whole spread of country music.
Our country music is very diverse. It's not all,
I like to.
It's all in one pocket. Yeah. It's all over the joint. So yes. Okay, so the next one. So for those that totally understand what country music's all about, obviously country music came from bluegrass. Bluegrass was the start. So we also have a bluegrass recording of the year.
Well, this is Braggy's area, because Roundup are described in some parts of the press as bluegrass surf swamp.
There you go.
So there we go. There's your link, Braggy. This is going to get you to Tamworth.
Braggy, 1/3 country. There you go. Well done. Out of what you do. So this bluegrass recording of the year goes to a lady by the name of Christy Cox, and the song was called Good Morning Moon.
Yep. And your thoughts on that song?
I actually like it. I really like it. I love bluegrass. I just think it's, if you can't sit and listen to bluegrass and not tap your feet, then you probably should be in a fine box. So
there's my challenge.
There's your challenge. Go the challenge.
I've got to tap my feet to bluegrass.
If you don't move, there's something wrong with you. You should be in a box. I think. Yeah. So, okay, next one. So we start moving on to the bigger stuff now. So the new talent of the year. Yeah. So this is obviously across the whole gamut of the previous 12 months.
This is what Undiscovered is all about.
Correct. Very much so. And the young gentleman that won that is James Johnson.
Yeah.
So that's the boy I pointed the finger at quite a while ago. So a song called
Doing great,
Town.
Doing great, Gun.
Yeah. Very, very good.
But is that the one where he starts off with getting in the ute?
Getting the car in the city? Yeah. It's all about living, going to the city, and then on your time off, he travels home and goes to a home, which is a small town. That's the genre. That's all about what it is.
Once again, I mean, just from an outsider, not tuned in fully to the scene, there's a formula there. It's toe tapping, it's upbeat, it's straight into it. It's the old. I'm seeing the video as we speak. You know, it's out on the highway, out on the plains.
It is. It's a story. You know, it's about working in the city and the humdrum and bustle of the city, and getting into the car, and then leaving the city and going to a less residential. Getting past less residential, going into the country, and then getting out to nothing, and it's home, and the relaxation. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Next one was Song of the Year. So Song of the Year was called Star of the Show, and again, a multi-award winner from this year was Brooke McClymont and Adam Eckersley. Okay. So they took out Song of the Year.
Okay, that's interesting because there was a collaboration. Was that the same people that collaborated?
So those same people that won the Country Music Capital Group or Duo of the Year.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So
big names.
I think it's a bit of an honour. I think the chance to win one is awesome. The chance to win two, obviously you've worked hard and people enjoy your product that you put out.
Yeah. How are these? Are these based on sales? Are they based on public voting?
Good question. I really don't know.
Okay.
And I need to look in and find out.
So some it might be a combination.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure what it was. So.
I'd imagine there'd have to be a nomination.
So.
Okay.
So next one is the CMT Video of the Year.
Okay.
So obviously look at the CMT. So get on TV, get it moving, and people view it. We mentioned before. This gentleman, so Luke O'Shea, and it was Southeast Queensland. So he now won dual awards he's won CMT Video of the Year, and he also won Heritage
Country
Song
Music TV Video.
Yeah.
Because you shared some videos of Caitlin Shadbolt.
Yep.
Yeah, and they were pretty switched on too. So what I see whenever the only time I watch CMT is when I'm over here having a beer with Stuart. And the videos are usually very visual and expressive, and it's not just the old traditional band on a stage, although there's snippets of that.
Long gone.
Yeah.
It's now all about the country. It's about being where it's all
being
driven by.
Ute or a truck.
Correct.
Yeah.
In the paddock, in a tractor, whatever it may be. So, next one was Apple Music Single of the Year.
Apple Music Single of the Year.
So obviously, they've done a good job. They've got some sponsorship, and they've done well. So the song was called Memory Lane.
Yeah.
And surprise, surprise, Brooke McClymont and Adam Eckersley took out their third.
Now, is that normal for someone to win multiple?
I think so. There has certainly been years where people have scooped the pool, and it's probably no different to Golden Globes, wherever it may be. If you've got something, if you've got a product that's people have loved and it's really got around, then why shouldn't you?
Why not
win?
Agreed.
Totally, you deserve it if you've done the homework and you've produced the product.
So that was the effectively single
of the year. Yeah, the single of the year.
Well done to those Brooke and
Adam. Yes. And
we're
lastly,
available to come on the podcast and talk about your win.
Certainly, guys.
If you're listening.
Give us a call. Give Curly a call. We can do something for you. And last one, the top selling album of the year.
And this is the big one. When I actually mentioned this one in one of the early episodes of 2023, because you were gloating on a text to us of this particular win. And even someone like Rossi, whose background is certainly not country music, was quite impressed with the fact that you picked this guy. So who was that again?
So obviously it was Casey Barnes, as you mentioned before, with the album called Light It Up. So great album, absolutely amazing album. If you've never gone and listened to country music, and you want to listen to an album that honestly you'll thoroughly enjoy, Casey Barnes, great guy, lives down at the Gold Coast, top end of New South Wales, has some awesome music.
So that was Golden Guitars.
The Golden Guitars. That was the 2023 wrap. And for those that are interested, next year, if you want to go, like we mentioned, we need to organise to go down there, whatever.
We'll do a live recording of the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast on the streets of Tamworth. How's
maybe.
that?
So
Braggy, you win.
So next year we're starting Friday the 19th of January and ends on Sunday the 28th. So again, encapsulates Australia Day.
Excellent.
So
sounds like a great weekend. Now, there were a couple of people that were unlucky.
Yep.
Who would they be?
I know.
I love throwing totally unprepared. So there were some people that were unlucky.
There was a lot of people that were unlucky.
There was a collaboration that you loved. It was Caitlin Shabold
and Caitlin Shabold and how can I not put that together? That was one of your mates' friends, Melanie Dyer.
That's it.
So these two ladies spent a lot of time at the end of last year doing a tour called what was it? What's the plot?
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
See what happens when I throw
you
people
do.
on the spot?
Pull me out. So
it was a really cool name for a tour, but
it's a crazy name for a tour.
Hopefully, I'll have it on a ticker underneath.
But yeah, they did very well together, and the reality was, Melanie Dyer was actually nominated as Female Artist of the Year.
Was Caitlin? Did Caitlin
No,
get
Caitlin
any?
didn't. Unfortunately, Caitlin didn't get a show. So, Caitlin, there's your challenge.
Yeah.
Let's get there. Come on, lady. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So that's So who else would you have considered unlucky not to have picked up a gong or two?
I think there's a lot of people. There's people like Adam Brand. There's people like Morgan Evans. Let me get through some of the lists. Okay. There's just happen to have some stuff here. So always prepared. Some people like Cass Hopeton is around at the moment. Very, very good. Taylor Moss. A band that I have a lot of time for and thoroughly enjoy called McAllister Kemp.
Yeah.
Great duo. A couple of guys that are awesome. Another couple of guys, Wolf Brothers.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there. Ashley Dallas, Melanie Dyer, as you mentioned. Some great talent. There's some great Australian country music talent.
Yeah.
That just keep tapping at the door and keeping everyone else honest.
Yeah. Excellent. Good to hear. And country music in so many ways. And I know Braggy loves the Nashville concept. And, even speaking with Rossi after our episode with Ben Penner, we were talking about Nashville and just the vibrancy of some of these country music or city or music-centric towns and cities. And that's one of the things that we have here in Tamworth. Now, if you go to Tamworth probably now in March or April, it's unlikely that you're going to get that country music buzz, although you may get a sense of it because of the historical nature. But the key is it's January, late January, and Tamworth's pumping. 700 artists playing around the place.
40,000 people. Yeah. Motels are booked out 12 minutes in advance.
12 minutes.
12 months in advance.
Sorry.
All the fields there. So the footy field, the horse racing field, the horse racing track, the greyhound track is all committed to camping. So you can go down there and camp as well.
Yeah.
So a great 10 days.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thanks, Stewie. It's never a problem popping over and having a quick beer with you.
Not at all.
Never a problem chatting about your musical tastes.
Yep.
It gets rammed down my throat when I'm here anyway, so why not talk about it?
Correct.
So over to you, Braggy. Braggy, what did you think of Stewie's roundup of the country music golden guitars in Tamworth? Yeah. And how can we get Rail Motor into that process?
Get that 30% to 60%, Braggy.
No worries. Thanks, Stewie.
No worries. See you later, guys.
You're listening to Braggy and Curly on the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.
Man, it makes me want to get some other correspondents now, like a punk correspondent and and maybe a disco correspondent. That'd be cool.
Absolutely. It's beautiful.
He's gonna end up being the star of the show, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. So what did you think of
all the awards?
Yeah. Let's start going through the expert analysis, the Braggy expert analysis on. Let's not do them all. Stewie's
No.
done them all. So
I made a few
what were the
notes from
standouts
there.
for you?
Well, obviously, James Johnson, who Stewie kind of did predict earlier on, didn't he? Was going to win a couple of awards. He's pretty good, and I love that clip of his stuff as well. And Casey Barnes and the McClymont. I mean, God, she's prolific. Brooke, hey, like this.
Yeah, and
her
that
own
name's
band
been
with
around
the
for a
sisters
while.
Yeah. So, and I'm really interested, and I haven't checked it out to listen to that, to Luke O'Shea and the heritage sort of thing. I've kind of was a bit like you. I'm a bit confused the difference between like heritage, bush ballad,
traditional,
traditional,
contemporary.
And as far as Rail Motor doing bluegrass, I don't know how Waxy's going to go on the banjo. I'd like to see that. That's funny.
We need to get Rail Motor to Tamworth, Waxy. So, what can you do? So,
pretty cool. And who else did we talk about? He talked about some of the ones that he liked that didn't get an awards. Was what's her name? Shadbolt.
Caitlin.
Which on his last show he kind of played us a little bit of her as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the film clip was filmed in Brisbane.
Yeah, she's from up your way, isn't she?
Yeah, she's from Gympie. So
from Gympie,
she's a superstar. And we talked. Was it Mel Dwyer, Melanie?
Yeah, Melanie. Yeah, that was the little duo that. That
we actually forgot. We actually forgot during the tape. He forgot what was their tour, and it was something about dumb decisions or dumb things or something. So,
okay.
Yeah. I need to look that up, so I've got it on the ticker down the bottom. But
yeah, from what I've seen, she looks like a lot of fun. I mean, I'd love to get her on the show and stuff if she tunes in somewhere. She sings her name. And we're going to play a song at the end of this, are we? As well, that one you said, the instrumental. Soda Cat Boogie.
Yeah. I've got to chase that one up. Yeah, and we'll put that on the end because, But once again, Braggy, I was just like. Stewie knows them all. Like he names it and he says, "Oh yeah, that was a great song. It's an instrumental." And I'm just sitting there going, I now have an understanding of what it was like back in the day with me when I was talking to people about, have you seen the Lime Spiders or have you seen Screaming Tribesmen? And people would look at me and say, "What the hell are you talking about?" Yeah. I get that whenever I go over to Stewie's house.
Yeah, but Stewie knows it. He's like our own freaking Molly Meldrum. He's even got the hat,
Yeah.
He knows the stuff so well.
And I had another photo of him, but he said, no, I'll send you another one. And it was the one that we see in the intro with the hat. And he's just sort of sitting there out in the middle of nowhere. And it's just, that's what he loves doing. So we finally got the country music round.
We did, and hopefully, hopefully we get a few more country listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So, final part of the Who Am I before we sign off. What do you reckon? See, I remembered this time. Well done. It feels like it's a regular part of the podcast now, Braggy.
Well, maybe. Rossi's will be impossible to fucking get. For sure. Okay, we ready for the last bit?
Yeah.
So the last thing I talked about was the stage persona that he kind of stole from Jim Morrison on the Doors. Well, he was influenced by that as well as Mick Jagger and James Brown. In 1968, less than a year after my band's live debut, and following in the footsteps of the Doors, we signed with Elektra Records.
Yeah.
With a self-titled first album. I can't tell you what the name of the band is because you'll get it if I do that. The album only reached 106 on the US charts, and our second album, Funhouse, didn't receive the recognition expected. However, in 2003, it was ranked 191st in Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums of all time. Other solo albums like The Idiot and Lust for Life, produced by David Bowie, have been highly acclaimed by the music fraternity. Known for my drug use, ripped physique, and gymnastic stage presence, I've been hailed as the godfather of punk. My name is
Iggy Pop.
Woo! There you go.
What
So he got his
story.
nickname
So
from a band called the Iguanas. He got his nickname from that. Yeah, he started as a drummer.
That was such a good Who Am I, because I had no idea coming into that third one. But as you get more into you start there. Yeah. So to the listeners, who got that? How early did you get it? Did you know Iggy Pop was born in Michigan back in the 40s? Wow. What a life he's led.
Park. Oh, man.
How many
and
stories could
strong.
he tell? Yeah. Absolutely. Well, a little bit of an easy episode for us tonight. We listened to Big Stu on his Country Roundup. We love you, Big Stu. Make sure if you like the episode, you like, review, subscribe wherever you watched or listened to it. If you enjoy what we're doing, help us let other people know, because we enjoy doing it. So we're just going to keep doing it anyway.
We love it.
But obviously, we'd love as many people as possible. We are on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube channel, of course. Just search for Unfiltered, Undiscovered. We also have our own website, simply called Unfiltered and Undiscovered.com. Fancy that. And the lyrics from now on are going to come from the playlist that we have. So every week we add songs that we talk about on our playlist on Spotify. The lyrics every week will come from one of those songs, and the lyrics this week comes from Ups and Downs, The Living Kind, Waiting Now with Endless Patience, and Waiting for Eventuality. One of the greatest lines that I've ever heard from a Brisbane band. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks, Braggy. It's always an honour. I'm at your place in Friday
next
week.
So we haven't really got a show planned, but I'm thinking sitting out in the beer garden here, we might be able to figure up something. Maybe we'll go through my record collection or something.
Oh, would you like that? Let's see what happens. All right. Thanks, everyone. We will see you all again next week. Bye for now.
See ya.
Alison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Railmotor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music, and you're listening to our friends Braggy and Curly.
My favorite fans from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.